Hey metalheads, it's Metal and Coffee. Let's talk about the new record from Alcest called Les Chants de l'Oeuvre, released on Nuclear Blast. A little background about the band. Alcest is a French black gaze band. We'll talk more about that later, founded by Nej in 2000. It originally started as his solo black metal project, but it expanded to be so much more than that. If you aren't familiar with black gaze, it's a fusion genre that combines the extremes of black metal with the dreamy soundscapes of shoegaze, and is a genre pioneered by Nej himself through Alcest and other smaller side projects. So far, Alcest has released 7 full-length albums, including this new one. I started listening to them in 2015, right before the release of their best album, Kodama. That record is a 10 out of 10, embodying absolutely everything that makes this band unique, dark, and emotionally charged. What also drew me to Alcest was their knack for creating gorgeous and dreamy harmonies like the one in Outouton, I think that's how you pronounce it. And that's an exceptional song from their 2012 record. There aren't even any lyrics in the chorus of that song. It literally is just ha ya, and I sing that around the house every fucking day. I'm not even kidding. So after Kodama, they released Spiritual Instinct in 2019, which I still really liked, but not as much. And now here we are with their latest record, Les Chants de l'Oeuvre, are in English the Songs of Dawn. Quick disclaimer, most of the track names are in French, but I'll be referring to them in their English translation so I don't continue to butcher the language. I'll put the track list in the description. The album starts off with Komorebi, which is sunlight in Japanese. Hearing this track for the first time, I wasn't sure if I was feeling it, especially considering the album starters on the previous albums were so heavy hitting. But on the second listen, my mind shifted gears a bit and really appreciated how bright and uplifting the track genuinely feels. It has a very orchestral feel to it, and the vocal play throughout the track is just lovely. The song structure doesn't seem to be as complex as what I'm used to hearing from Alcest, but interesting track nevertheless. Next comes Flight, which is the first single they released from the album, and it was a fantastic choice. Despite hearing it for the first time, it sounded very familiar to me because it sounded like signature Alcest with the comforting chord progression and ride of the drums. We also get a little bit of harsh vocals on this one, which is always amazing and adds depth to the song. I feel like more could have been done during the instrumental break because it comes off as a little empty. Améthyste starts off with this sonic, scratchy guitar intro and pumping drum riff that builds up and crescendos right into the first verse. This track is not as bright sounding as the previous one, and the overall atmosphere seems quite similar to that of the last 2 albums, which is a very welcome change. The pacing throughout is fantastic, and the transitions between each song stage are seamless. Once again, we have some use of harsh vocals, but more so as a support for the clean vocals, which really stood out to me. Also, fun fact, Amethyst is a symbol of peace and unification, and to be honest, I was very much feeling that vibe in this track. Twin Flame is the second single they released, and it's such a pretty and sparkly track. The chord progression is the most memorable, and it could easily be on repeat in your head. I also love how the drums sound a bit static and echoey at times. The song structure is more on the basic side, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, and I think it's more so related to the warm and spiritual atmosphere that Alcest wants to create for the listener. And I'd say it's working. When I think of happy metal, this is a song that I'm going to think of from now on. Réminiscence is an interlude to the record's conclusion that strictly features a piano, a cello, and dreamy vocal play. I don't think I've ever heard a piano-centered track from Alcest before, but I'm fuzzy on their early stuff, so it might actually exist already. All that to say, I love it, and it kind of serves as a moment of rest. The second last track, The Moonchild, is another great representation of all that Alcest has to offer. It's a multifaceted composition with airy vocals that continuously play with each other amongst pensive chord progressions and a luminous drum pattern that provides an effortless foundation, all the traits that make them the genre-bending band they are. The album closer, The Farewell, is essentially a soundscape that is reminiscent of hope and nostalgia. I know I haven't talked about the lyrical translation much because I haven't felt the need to, but the theme in this track hits home for me. It's just about saying goodbye to someone for the last time on earth and knowing you'll see them again. And when I realized that, the musicality of it all came together so seamlessly and everything just made sense. It's yet another gorgeous composition from Alcest despite the absence of drums. In conclusion, I wasn't really sure about this record at first. As I said, the album opener was very underwhelming, but this is a case where the album gets better with each track and with each additional listen. Do I like Kodama and Spiritual Instinct better? Yes, but I do feel like this newest album is on a slightly different playing field since I feel like Alcest shifted their MO into this bright and dreamy landscape. The production is typical of Alcest. Everything sounds so flowy, echoey, ethereal. Some songs were less complex than others, but I was okay with that. I'm going to give this album an 8.5 out of 10. Let me know what your thoughts are and which album I should review next in the comments.